I love
That's
that we
better.
just opened this podcast to Seth going in and out of a building, car. I don't know.
Well, I'm in my
You know
car. I'm just
what?
trying to find the
Seth
right
is kind of a
spot.
wild card.
Oh yeah, so you can get my moon roof so I can have better lighting. I'm gonna sit in the back seat, pretend like I have a driver.
Your
James, open up
lighting's
the moon
fine. It's
roof,
just the
please.
audio and visual that's terrible.
Ah, there we go. All right, I'm ready. I'm ready. Did you guys hit record yet?
I don't even know what's happening right now.
This is the best intro.
GH Squad Podcast Episode 8. Not quite sure what's going on with Seth, but I'm actually still in a daze from the 2026 Fantasy Plant Draft last week. I really can't believe Seth nabbed Sunflower in the 11th round, especially because he doesn't know what a fantasy draft is. But it's a new week and a new episode. Gentlemen, I know that you both took some time off over the holidays. How does it feel to get back into the grind of work?
Yeah, it's rough. I won't lie. There's about 500, 600. I don't know. At some point, emails stop counting, and I've just been like every day trying to okay, who needs help? Who needs help? Answer that, and then I feel like every day I leave one and I write it down on my little sheet, and I'm like, gotta get back to John on this, and then I come back in the morning and I got it. Then I got all day. I'm just fighting to get back to John, and so today I feel like I'm getting there though. I'm feeling a little happier. I did get a nice workout in today. We'll talk about that in a bit. But yeah, no, I don't know. It does make me wonder. I don't know if it's the days that matter, like when Christmas and New Year fall in the week. But I don't know. Maybe I don't know if I can do 2 whole weeks of off anymore. It's rough. Like I might have to pepper in a day where I'm on
Yeah.
just to clean up things.
And what I did and what I usually do is I say I don't work the whole time, but I'm not working all day. I'm working every day just for a period of time because I hate feeling behind. I don't like the 400 emails. But what I have realized is that no matter what, when you get back, there's a bunch of people who haven't worked for a couple weeks. So it's all just coming at you anyways.
And that's where I don't know how much of it's me. I don't know how much of it's them. And I will say that there is an email that I responded to today. And this isn't holiday related, but this person emailed me in July and I had responded, but
Okay. I was at that point, you just say it went to your junk box.
no, but I was like, oh, I'll get back to you. And the information that they wanted, we just didn't have. And it was not he wanted us to have a product that was in a 25-pound bag and it was a retail product. And
Yeah.
I was like, hey, how fast can we do this? And it was way, a sales guy versus product development people. My mindset was week 2. And, but today I finally had a label for that product and was able to respond. And I jokingly, and thankfully he's a friend in the industry. And I was like, hey, Jake, how often do you get an email that's a reply from a message 7 months ago? It's got to be pretty rare, but here you go. Everything that you wanted. Let's chat about this soon. So that was fun.
He was probably thrilled. You said you'd get back to him. You got back to him.
That's right.
You solved the problem potentially.
Yeah.
It just took some time. That to me is integrity. That's
Well,
good.
and I had this email just every time I'd scroll to the bottom of my inbox.
It was there.
It was there. And I was I just felt bad because I liked the guy a lot. I didn't have a good answer for him.
But it's okay. You took care of it. I feel like our society is so focused on instant reaction, and it's usually not the best. If you had tried to solve that problem in a week, the solution would have sucked versus waiting a few months and doing it right.
Well, yeah, it
That's
just
a tangent.
wouldn't have
but
been
that's how I
available.
feel.
It is kind of wild to think I don't know, 1700s, 1800s. People are just you need a part from Europe. And you're just hey, you're gonna wait a year to get that
Yeah.
machine fixed.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Or in the 90s when you waited till the next day to get a response by phone.
Yeah.
And you know what? The world worked fine then.
Am I good now? I'm not
Seth,
delayed or
you were
anything?
saying?
I mean,
Yeah.
you're as good as you'll ever be.
Anyways, yeah, but what bliss was that, right? that like you want to like there's so much more patience, right? Like you could probably people are probably more productive before like the instant answer because then also you get like kind of people get kind of miffed, right? Like I sent the person an email like 15 minutes ago. Like why are they not responding back
Yeah.
to me? So
Yeah.
if we
Or
go,
you
if
get a
we
text and a Teams message saying, "I emailed you."
I'm the
well,
king of
Okay,
that, and
I
I
get
don't
it.
mean it as such.
yeah, I think you liked that, Bill. It was something we were collaborating on together. I think that you liked me reaching out to you in two different ways. No,
A little bit.
I
I
don't
mean, I don't mind it. Like, I don't mind it because I'm sitting here and it's all right in front of me. So, however you communicate, I'm going to see it pretty much at the same time. But and we're going to talk about this later. I don't want to be that way because
mm,
I think the challenge there is whatever I'm working on is like derailed, right?
yeah.
Like if
yeah,
I'm working on something and I message, on this screen and I'm messaging you, Seth, on this screen, I'm not paying attention to either thing,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, that's
that's a
for sure.
problem.
yeah. If we could,
But that's
so,
that's a bigger issue.
yeah. If I could comment on the
I don't
How's
know.
vacation,
your week, Seth?
I
Yeah.
mean, I can't believe it's Friday. Like, I feel like I missed a few days. I mean, I was there, I think, but yeah, I can't believe it's Friday. Contrary to you guys, I took the 2 weeks off completely. I didn't look at anything. Now, granted, I am no longer in sales, so I don't have that pressure of like, you know, are things progressing?
Fair.
Which I think makes a big difference. But I really
Hey,
liked it.
sustainability never sleeps.
Thank you. Thank you for that. But I think that everyone's different, right? But for some, I always have trouble turning it off. And so like I need enough time for my brain to kind of like relax and get to a point where I can like just like refresh or like start thinking about like new things in a different way. And at the end of the day, I think also people have to keep in mind, like, generally, you're not rewarded for like not taking your vacation, right? Like, if you're in a company
Mm,
where they give you 3, 4 weeks, whatever it is, like, no, you don't get a pat on the back or a star for like not taking that time. Like I don't always do the best
it's
at
true.
that, but it's always like keeping in the back of my mind, like if it's something I've been given as like employment, then I should be taking that time. And I think that's hard for us as a society.
And are you a better employee because you took that time? Like that's what I always think about is, yeah, maybe I'm taking a half a day off, but I'm going to come back tomorrow better, right?
Well,
I mean, I
yeah,
think
I,
it's
I
like
think it's
vacation. Like I learned maybe 5 years ago. Um, well, I was also scolded by my wife, but to take vacation, like when you're on vacation with your family, be on vacation with your family. Like
Yeah.
I was always like, oh, I'm gonna run back and check emails, or back changing into swimsuits. Like, hey, I'm gonna check my email real quick. Like that's ridiculous. And I think at some point you end up with a boss who's like, stop checking emails on vacation. And you realize, and someone said to me a long time ago, just because you're on vacation doesn't mean the company's going to shut down.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
we're not going out of business because you are in Florida for a week and not doing your day to day. I'm like, all right.
And if
And
it
plus, I
does,
think with technology, you can set it up so it
yeah.
basically looks like you're still in the office.
Yeah.
when I think
And
the
if
I
the
think the other
company does
ask,
shut down when you ask,
Yeah.
you gotta that's a bigger problem.
Right.
yeah,
Maybe a good
yeah.
problem to have for you, but
Well, and I think also too, it helps you make a better leader and a contributor to your company, right? Because I think the three of us are all pretty similar in the fact that like we love what we do. We love the companies that we're at.
Hmm.
We feel
absolutely.
personally
Yeah.
responsible for its success. So it's easy for us to
Yeah.
do all the things, whereas that's not the same for every single employee. So if you are at a
True.
company and you don't take your vacation, or if you work while you're on vacation and you're a leader, people will see that and be like, oh, well, am I not supposed to take vacation all the way? And those people may not feel the same way. And so then you're kind of, it's not healthy for the overall organization to feel that like everyone should feel that they have that freedom to take the vacation that they've been given.
That kinda goes into another thing, I'm a night owl, like, I like being awake at night, drives my wife up a wall, because, like, she's like, "Just go to bed," and I'm like, "It's only 10 o'clock. Like, I'm gonna be up for another 2.5 hours." Like, any way we slice and dice it. And it makes the mornings a little rough, but I don't know, I probably need more sleep than I do, but whatever. So like that's where I don't know. I'll pop if I'm bored. I'll pop open my laptop or go on my phone and be like, I get through a couple emails, like things that I see. I'm just like, bam, bam, bam. But what I had to tell like people that I work with was like, that's a me thing. Like that's
Yeah.
not a this is like because I remember back in the day, Megan at Grow It was like, hey, you shouldn't be sending people emails at midnight. And I was like, yeah, I don't expect a response. I'm sending it
Yeah.
because like that's a me. That's when I feel comfortable. And so like I don't know. That's where I make sure to tell people like I don't expect this out of you. I'm a freak that like it's not even that I'm like, oh, I gotta get this in, gotta work. It's that I'm wide awake and
Yeah.
like I'm not watching TV because I'm wide awake in bed. TV is off because Alex is sleeping, and I'm just like, the heck am I gonna do right now? And that's where like I should read more, but I'm also listening to an audiobook, and I'm like, oh, I can get this email out. So, yeah,
Screens in bed is probably a
oh,
topic
get
for
out
a
of here.
different day. All right. We gotta debrief just for a minute on the draft last week because I've been thinking about it. And well, first off, Seth nailing that sunflower in the 11th round is crazy. Your geranium pick in what, round 8,
Yeah,
Mason? That was pretty nuts. But what do you guys think? We haven't we need people to vote. We need votes on who won this draft because it's going to be fun to look into that. We did get one comment from
I saw
somebody who said that Mason's team was the Grandma Garden, which
I
I
saw that they
thought that
voted
was
for
pretty
Seth's
funny.
team. What?
Yeah, definitely voted for
No,
Seth's team. Yeah, I think you
I
guys
didn't
got
want to point
steals with the
out that
geranium and the sunflower. I kind of think you blew it with the English lavender, Seth, or the coreopsis, Mason. I don't know. I'm going to call those out. But who am I to say? I'm just the guy with the best team.
You picked impatiens and begonias back to back.
Yeah,
Who does
yeah.
that?
They're in every
Are you worried about
landscape.
it? Are you worried about a crop failure? Like, hey, if one of these goes out, I'll just replace it with the other. Maybe okay,
I mean,
maybe you're onto something now.
I guess it would be like having two, fast wide receivers. Like, yeah, maybe they're not going to catch passes across the middle, but they're
Hey, the
going for the
Vikings
touchdown.
the Vikings had 2 fast wide receivers this year, and what do they threw for, like, all of 10 touchdowns all season long.
Yeah, it's kind of a good point. But yeah, I do think, so yeah, we've got to vote for Seth's team already to win it
Well, and I
all.
saw on Spotify, there was a poll. Is the poll still active? Because I saw that there was 100% on for another team on the
There
poll.
is. There is. There
How do-
is. And yes, the poll is still, everything's active till February 8th. So there's plenty of
February
time
8th.
to vote. Yeah, almost a full month.
how would someone vote on Instagram?
Comment.
All right,
Just comment.
just comment.
Comment.
Okay.
Pulmonaria wins. Bill
'Cause my-
wins.
Send in a written ballot.
Written. Oh,
Yeah,
written.
if you can find my address, if I'm on your Christmas card list, you can send a written ballot. It'll be here in time. But I was
okay.
looking through some of the other picks. I think Calabracoa slipped into the 5th round.
That's a good one.
It was a
I
pretty good
don't
pick.
like Calabracoa, but it's a good pick.
But Mason, your 3 picks of tomato, red poinsettias, and garden mums
I was
in
locking
4th,
up.
5th, and I mean, those are 3 of probably the top 5 picks, period.
You guys, I was gonna say you better like vacation because you're gonna be taking a vacation for a good chunk of the year with me owning those 3 categories.
I thought you were going to say the wave petunias have paid for all my vacations that I've ever gone on. And I was going to say, yeah, that's also true.
Very true. Very true.
No, I thought it was fun.
Yeah, I guess I wasn't really necessarily thinking of like the all year aspect. So when he came in with the poinsettia, I was like, crap, I hadn't thought about winter or fall. So it was certainly an interesting experience. I think I would potentially do the second time differently.
Seth, you just epitomized the gardener stereotype that the industry is constantly trying to break. Is that
Yeah,
gardening
6
is
weeks
just
of
a
spring.
summer thing. It's not.
Yep, that's true.
Do you garden? Do
That's
you
true. I
garden
mean,
with
you did.
poinsettias?
You did pick crops for summer eventually.
Yes.
And
Yes.
now that you're a huge fan of lantana, now we've learned that. That's
Is.
good. But no, I thought the draft was fun. I'm interested how we can spin it in the future into additional drafts.
Now that Seth knows more how those work.
Yeah, maybe we'll do it for Because I mean, I go to spring trials and I will see every single new plant
Ooh,
and I
new
will
varieties.
write and talk about every single new plant. Maybe we can draft a team out of what was introduced at spring trials and
Mhm.
go like variety specific at that
Okay.
point. Because then we won't be like where I completely forgot the name of Saluna interspecific
Mhm.
impatiens. We won't do that after spring trials because you'll have the variety names right in front of you.
I like
So
that.
that
Yeah.
might be that might be our next draft. But we gotta get through this one first.
Yeah.
Get some
Yeah.
votes in. All
Also,
right.
we kind of skipped over this because it's by the time this gets posted, it'll be Monday, but it's not Monday currently. Kind of wild. I would say that the three of us who I would say have been to a fair amount of shows in our lives,
Yeah, I know where you're going. This was on my list.
none of us went to Mance. And I
Right, which
don't
is
think that
nuts.
that's not a shot against Mance. It's just travel
Wow.
schedules. I don't know about you guys, but I'm having a little bit of FOMO, and I've reached out to multiple people and be like, "How's Mance? What's the vibe like? Are the people excited? What are we doing?" So I don't know. It feels weird. I also think,
Can I make
yeah,
a crazy announcement? I've
yeah,
never been to Mance.
that is crazy.
25 years in the industry, I've never been to Mance. And I was thinking about it because that's really weird. It always, well, for a long time, it conflicted or almost conflicted with the Western.
Western.
And I went to, I mean, I was on the board for 9
Yep.
years. So I went to the Western for a good number of years. And then there were always just other people covering it. Like I've
Yeah.
done TPIE, I've done Mance. There was always someone. And then when I was with Ball Seed had a booth there, but it was always kind of, there was a lot of sales reps in the Mid Atlantic. There were breeding companies in the Ball Seed booth. So the Ball Seed booth used to house Flora Plant, Selecta,
Yeah.
Darwin. And then they've since extracted those from the booth,
Yeah.
and there was no education. So when I was with the magazines, there was hard to, you'd send one
Yeah.
person to cover products, you'd send ad sales to sell ads, but there were no sessions to cover. So
Yeah.
I've never been to Mance, but all week long I've been posting pictures that Jen Polance from Green Profits sends me, like texting me, and it does look like a good show, and I've kind of been following on social. It sounds like it was a really good show.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
Everything that I've heard. Go ahead, Seth.
I was thinking maybe next year you could do a speed run like we talked about before, right? And we could guess how long it would take you to do a speed run. It'd be like a big game.
Of Mance.
Yeah. Yeah. There we
All
go.
right.
Oh, and then you
Well,
I
could
we
feel
like
need to
like
set
that
up
trade show.
we got to set up a Patreon because, or either that, or I
oh,
might be able to just convince Jen Zerko to send me to Mance next year.
I
what's a
mean,
Patreon? What's a
we can
Patreon?
get you to Mance. I know people. We can get you to Mance.
I could get myself to Mance.
And that, but I feel the same way as you. I actually haven't been to Mance. I don't think I've been. I don't think I've been to Mance with J.R. Peters.
Mm,
So I haven't been in like 5 years, 6 years, I guess. 6-year anniversary coming up soon. But I think this is, given the new title we talked about last time, I think this is my last time not going to Mance.
yeah.
And so, but for me, it's always been like, do you want me to go to Mance? But I think it's a drive for everybody from the office
Yeah.
to go down there. So
I mean,
for
it's
me,
got to
I
be
just,
in the top 3 or 4 shows of the year.
oh yeah,
I mean,
easily.
everybody goes. Like every garden center goes. Every greenhouse east of the Mississippi goes.
Yeah. I mean, it's a huge show, Bill. I've
Big
done it in the past.
landscape show.
Seth's done it. I mean, this is your first year, probably. You didn't go last year.
No, I went last year. I went last year
Okay.
and the 2 or 3 years before that for our Darwin Perennials booth. Yeah, it's a great show. I mean, there's a ton of garden centers, like Bill said, and nurseries. And I talked to a couple of people at the office and that were just getting back last night and today. Sounds like it's a good vibe. The attendance was really great. It's kind of like a show that kind of kicks off the year too. Like it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's kind of like for breeders, it's like the last show of the kind of introduction process. And then, but for the
True.
year, for garden centers, nursery, it's like the kickoff. It's like, oh, we have that. We see a lot of people we know. We get jazzed about the year. You go back, you grow some stuff, and then you sell it. And so I think it's definitely an energizing show.
I feel
Yeah.
like Mance and Far West are like the shows that cover those 2 halves of the country if you're going for a buying show.
Mhm.
Like if you're going to buy product, and then obviously Cultivate. But
Yeah.
Cultivate kind of encapsulates more with a lot of education and stuff. TPIE for the tropicals. But
Yeah.
I mean, and then distributor shows for like hardcore buying.
Have you guys ever been to one? No, Seth's never been to one of those. Have you ever been to one of those?
Like a
Be it
Yeah,
like
yeah.
BFG or a Griffin?
Yeah, I went to the old Carlin show. I
Oh, yeah.
used to go to the BFG show when I was working at the garden center. We would
Yeah,
go and
that
get our early order discounts and get our spiff money and go and, get lunch and some beers.
dude, they don't do that anymore for that
No,
reason, because people
probably
would
for that
send
exact
their
reason.
buyers, and the buyers would be, like, buying things, and they'd get home, and the guy footing the bill would be like, "Oh, did you get any spiffs?" And, "No, no, I don't know."
No.
So now it's just taken out of price. For most, I would say most do that. But yeah, that's a different
Well, I
environment.
mean, I guess I did the True Value and Ace shows
Yeah.
for years. It was Simply Beautiful. God rest its soul.
I have a Simply Beautiful, like, tag or a pot around here somewhere. I've taken it
I have
with
a
me to every
file.
guest.
I have a file folder of the history. Well, I
Oh,
do think, yeah, I'm always bummed when I'm not at a show that looks exciting, and that
Same.
one, Mance looked really good. So maybe next year all 3 of us go, and we'll just record live from Mance,
there you go.
Coming at you live from
coming
Mans.
at you live from Baltimore, such a
Is
lovely
this
city.
am I incorrectly remembering, but didn't there also used to be a Pants?
Yeah, Pennsylvania. Yeah, there was Pants. New England
Sense.
Grows. I don't know if that's still around.
I think that's still
I think
around.
it is.
Is it? That was in, like, Worcester.
Yeah.
That
Worcester
was a
Man.
good show. That was still to this day the single largest audience I've ever talked to. Somehow my talk got got tagged with landscape CEU credits, and I swear to you, 1,400 people.
Every
It was a
landscaper in the
Really?
state of
a
Massachusetts.
triple meeting, a triple room. And I remember getting there like a day early to go look at the room, and I remember texting Jenny like, "Oh my gosh, like this thing, like there's gonna be 5 people in the middle of this room that's set for 1,500." And then it was packed. There were 2 screens behind me, like massive screens broadcasting my garbage PowerPoint. It was all hacked together, probably on the plane, but it was a good talk. But yeah, single largest audience I've ever spoken to.
Love
Wow.
that.
New England Grows, wonderful.
Hmm.
Well, actually, just yesterday I put the Plug and Cutting Conference on my calendar, but that's not
Mm.
till September in
September, yeah.
Philly. I mean, spring trials obviously is going to be huge, and that's coming up before we know it.
Yeah.
No, I don't do anything in January or February.
See, I got a busy one, and I was telling you guys about this for scheduling, so there might be an episode where I have to duck out and you get a guest host. Hopefully somebody really good. I know you guys will do
Hopefully.
that. Um,
Shouldn't even be hard.
but yeah, I'm gonna go to TPIE. I'm down in Florida 2 times in 3 weeks. One
Nice.
and then
Good
one
time of
for
year.
yeah, except last year when I was there at TPIE, that's when it snowed in Florida.
Mm.
I don't know. Hopefully it's better.
Weren't we in you and I were at, what were we at?
We were at Plug and Cutting when the
Yeah,
hurricane
2 years
was.
ago when the hurricane hit.
That's why our HRI class, we are the
Yeah.
Hurricanes.
Yeah.
So
okay.
Hurricanes. Wow.
I got out before that. Somehow I like made it to it. I made it out before the hurricane, made it to Atlanta before the hurricane got there. And I swear it like pushed our plane to Cleveland.
well, so I got out of there, and then the next day I got back and had to flip around on another flight and go to Columbus for the American Balloon Symposium.
Yeah.
And then we were out touring Logan, Ohio. Beautiful town. You got to go to it. But it was the north end of the hurricane. So I was just out and pouring down like
Torrential
rain
rain.
all weekend long. But that trip, that HRI class, we had some scary stuff. We had the hurricane, and then the next one was in Dallas was fine, but then we had a DC one in January, and that was the whole thing where that plane got hit by the helicopter.
Oh yeah.
So my flight took off 6 minutes before that accident happened.
I
And
never heard
like
that.
I landed and people were like, "Hey, are you okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's a late flight. I'll be fine driving home. Like I'm okay." And they were like, "Look at the news, man." And I was like, "Oh my gosh." So like we had no idea because everybody's in the air. And yeah, I have windows closed all the time on the flights, but like had I like looked down, I probably would have seen it. Like that's
Was that out of Reagan or Dulles?
that was out of Reagan.
Okay.
And I don't know, but
Yeah.
but it was an American Airlines flight, and I was flying American Airlines, so like I guarantee it was
Man.
same terminal. So,
That's
but yeah,
nutty.
wild. But back to yeah, so
You got TPI.
DPIE, then I gotta skip a week, American Bloom strategy meeting. We're down in Orlando. We're gonna go visit Tavares,
Oh, it's
Florida.
awesome.
They're part of the program. And then actually the week after that is this is exciting. A new show I've never been to, Indoor AdCon. So it's in
Oh, yeah,
Vegas.
you're going to that. That's
Yeah.
cool.
So, pretty excited about that because we play a lot in that industry, and that's not my bread and butter of background. Like, obviously, I come from the greenhouse garden center world. So I'm excited to learn while I'm there and meet some new folks. So it'll be a great
Say,
time.
that's fun. Like, how
Yeah.
often you get to go to a show that it's a little bit adjacent to
Yeah.
what you do, but all new.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I did that last year. There was a International Plant Trialing
Yeah.
Conference, and it's only held like every 5 or 10 years. It had been held for 10 years, and NGB's in charge of it, or All America Selections, and it was in Minneapolis. And somehow Jen Zerko was like, "Hey, do you want to go cover this show?" I was like, "Yeah." It was basically a meeting, and it was by far the best event I attended last year, and partially because it was fresh. Like,
Yeah.
it was about, again, a part of the industry. I'm like, I'm aware of plant trialing, yes, but I wasn't aware of all the in-depth. And there were people there from like Royal Horticulture Society. There were people who run greenhouse trials, breeder trials, like consumer facing gardener trials. And it was a great cross section in the industry, just incredibly smart people. And the way the conference was set up, it was two, I think it was 2 days of meetings, but there were like, I think I went to 14 meetings in 2 days. Like, they were back to back to back to back, but like super interactive. And every session was a panel. So
Mhm.
like,
Mm.
you heard from, out of that 13 or 14 meetings, like 40 plus people. So it was actually really cool. Anyway,
Like,
It would
Seth, you
be
got any travel? Are you going around the world finding
no,
you got
new
to
no, no.
sustainable?
find the sustainability.
Find it wherever it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
no travel. I will be going to the iLandscape show in
Yeah. I might
Chicagoland.
duck in there.
Yeah, what day are you gonna go?
I don't know.
All
I mean,
right.
that for me is like, I just buy a ticket
Well,
and,
let's talk offline. Maybe I'll see you there.
carpool it.
Get some lunch. Go to Red Robin.
Red Robin,
Yeah,
that's what I was gonna
Red
say.
Robin. Yeah, that's a good
Ye
local show. It's just a well run show. Like they do a really good job. I think, if for the 9 or 10,000 people that watched this episode, if they put in the comments, like for the other types of shows, right? Like something adjacent or different than our industry, like what are people doing for like an outside influence, right? To like, because it like
Mhm.
so
Good point.
often you like go to Mance and Cultivate, like all the same shows, all the same people, and I get a lot of the same ideas with like slightly different variations. But if you go to something totally different, to get like, "Oh, that's super cool," like I feel like anything that other people are like, "Oh, wow, that's a really good idea." I'm like, I think I stole that from somewhere, right? Like I see
Yeah.
something, I'm like, "Oh, I can bring that into horticulture and we're going to kind of reframe it and kind of give it a twist." But I would love to hear, like, where have people gone that they would recommend?
It's interesting you bring that up, Seth, because, like, back in our Grow It days, we were kind of floating in a lot of different directions on, like, trying to bring influence in, and I remember I went to I don't know if you remember it. It was like and I forget who the company was that put it on, but it was called, Advo Camp. And it was about
Oh,
advocacy marketing, like like creating advocates and like totally not in our industry, right? And it was like brilliant as far as like most of these people that went to this, like this is their bread and butter, this is their sweet spot. And they're like, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm actually like with this plant app, and I'm in this industry. And they're like, that's wild, man.
Yeah.
But like I still quote things that I learned and picked up at that conference about like how to do customer service at an entirely different level. Like these are people that are like, everybody like it counts and the people that do so much more. Like we talk about like, oh, a rewards program, but like this is like rewards programs on steroids. Like they were like, we know every one of our power users. We know their favorite snack, their favorite candy, their favorite
mhm.
movie, when they had their first kiss, like all of this, and so that we can create and cater an experience to them. And I was like, that's so much bigger than like thing where we're at right now as an industry. I think we're getting there, sure, but like so now everything that I like bring back, I'm like, okay, how like, when we're talking personalization, it's like
Yeah, how do
every
you
piece of
customize that
yeah.
deeply?
And every piece of data, right? It means something. It's like I was on a call the other day, and the guy's like for American Bloom, and he's like, "Oh, I want to talk to this lady because she has the same name as my daughter." And I was like, "Use that." I need you to be the lead in for this because
Yeah.
that's like I like that
Mhm.
personalization. But that was a fantastic one. And I also, to be fair, that was also one where I got free pizza. I had come outside of the hotel, like was gonna go get dinner, and I saw a guy delivering pizzas, and I was solo, so I decided to follow him, and I wound up in a rooms party by the people that were running Advo Camp, and, I played it cool. It was just like, "Oh, hey, yeah, great to be here,"
Yeah.
and, like, got pizza, and, like, I started seeing people, like, talk, be like, What the hell is it?" And so I just dipped. So I got, like, 3 pieces of
Nice.
pizza and then dipped, and I couldn't have done that in our industry because I feel like somebody would be like, "Hey,
You
doesn't
would have
that guy
been
work
called
for
out.
Jax?" Yeah,
Yeah.
but they were
Yeah.
like, "We don't know who this guy is. We don't wanna call him out. Like,
Right.
he's not somebody that shouldn't be here, like, for sure." So, but
He
yeah,
doesn't
fun
look he
story.
doesn't look shady.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't one time I went so there's 2 shows like that that I've been to earlier in my career. One was a global marketing show, and I forget what it
Mhm.
was called. It was in Vegas, and, like, again, we were sitting at round table breakouts, and, like, the people at our table were, like, with, like, and shoe brands and cosmetics, and it was like, "Oh, I work for a global plant breeding and distribution company," and they're like, "That's the coolest thing ever." But, I mean, the topics were, like, marketing through fragrance, like,
Right.
what fragrances make people act certain ways and how you can influence that. It was absolutely, color marketing. Like, it was absolutely crazy. And then the other one, I went to like a PMA, a product marketing association or whatever meeting. And I went with, remember Kevin Rately? I went with Kevin when he was starting Ball Ingenuity. And it was all about like, it was like traditional marketing. And our marketing director at the time was like a very hardcore traditional marketer. And she sent us, and it was, we learned just everything about it. It was like a crash course in classical marketing. But I remember one of the speakers was from like an equipment company from India. And he was, I don't know, one of the absolute smartest people I ever heard speak, like ever in my life in front of a crowd. And he was just talking again. It was about I don't know, it was about like analytics and stuff and how, analytics for marketing. And this was probably 10 years ago. So it was all probably irrelevant now, but just how on the cutting edge companies were. And we used some of that, like what we learned in how to bring a new kind of a new business or a new strategy to market. I don't know. There's a lot of value in that. I would
Yeah.
say if you can find those opportunities, take them because we can learn from outside of our industry.
Absolutely.
So. Speaking of which, maybe that's a good New Year's resolution. I think, I don't know. I've talked to a lot of people this week about New Year's resolutions and like dozens. And I think it's really kind of funny, either from the kids in our junior high youth group that I work with or just dudes in the locker room at the gym, like, with goals, because everybody's got goals, or at least a lot of people do. And I actually think a lot of people make goals for the year. I think it's good practice. A lot of them don't make it past the first couple weeks. We know this, but there are multi-billion-dollar industries wrapped around good intentions and self-help and all that stuff. And you can buy all this stuff on Amazon, and it'll supposedly change your life and, new year, new you.
I
But,
did buy some vitamin D on Amazon based on things
I
that
take
I
vitamin
posted.
D every day. D
Yeah,
plus K, you gotta take it with potassium, but we can talk about that offline. But I do think a lot of these things are, like, overly commercialized BS, but setting intentions and working toward improvement's a good thing. I think the fact that we turn a calendar page and this happens is kinda goofy, but it's a good, I don't know, that the symbolism is probably there.
are you actually still turning a physical calendar page?
Yeah. Do you not? You guys don't
No,
have a
because
physical
it's a new
calendar?
calendar.
Oh, yeah, true. Don't
It's
you
a
guys
new
have a
planner. This is my 2026, the 2025 one in a drawer. But I am a resolution guy. So, you guys wanna
Mm,
hear my New Year's
Yeah,
resolution?
run
So
them.
I'll
do it.
start with last year, and it's usually like a word or a mantra, like
Okay.
an intention. So last year was optimize. Like, how can I
Mm,
do more without more time? Like, I felt like my time was maxed out, but there was a lot more I could do to be efficient. I feel like I mentioned this on a previous episode, but My one for this year is to pay attention. And I think, and I keep saying this to
Mm.
people, and everyone thinks I'm crazy, but I think it's like the secret to winning life. Because I think everything moves so fast now, right? The quickening, like Art Bell said, but everything's moving so
You
fast.
have the Highlander is the
Right?
quickening, right? When you become the Highlander? I don't know.
Maybe that's the goal. But I feel like if you can pick little opportunities out of these moments that go fleeting past, that's how you can win it. Because so many people they just go right past. So if you can find, you can slow things down enough to find little opportunities to like level up in each situation you're in. That they're little things, but they incrementally will build to like huge wins. I know that's so like esoteric, but
Yeah.
so my goal for the year is to pay attention. And that could be like not having my phone in my hand when I'm talking to my kids about their school day. It can mean like making sure that we do this podcast every week because we're not distracted. Like we're talking like face to face with human people. And I don't know. I think there's value in it. So I'm going to try to pay attention more this year, not miss little opportunities to do better.
Yeah.
With that, I feel I'm like, I get this really puzzled face on because I'm trying to like use my brain, which is challenging sometimes, as you guys know, is
You're
I,
wearing a
uh,
collared shirt. You're fine.
I want to look sophisticated, even if I'm, maybe not so much, but I feel like I've read
Is that a resolution or was that just off the cuff?
what to be more sophisticated
Yes.
or to look sophisticated. I always try to look sophisticated. All right.
That's
Can I
true.
just
Just
continue,
trust
please?
me.
I
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I had read like a quote or someone talking about like what you'd said, Bill, like observing or like being present allows you to like just access more as a person rather than just being constantly distracted.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sums it up. That's really good.
That's a really good one.
Well,
I like yours.
and science has proven, I try to tell my wife this all the time because she's like, "What can you do?" Like, she'll ask me to do something. I'm like, "Well, I'm kind of doing this right now." And she's like,
Oh,
"Can
yeah.
can you do both?" But science has proven that men are terrible multitaskers, and I try to tell her that,
Yeah.
and she's like, "Don't use science against me."
Everything you
Uh,
multitask is then done half-assed. I
you know
swear
what?
that is a
My my
fact.
my wife says the same thing. Men can't multitask at all. And among probably other things too, but, Alex is right.
Maybe we
Yeah.
don't want to
No,
multitask.
she's not. I'm the one that said it, and she's like, "Don't use that against me." And so I don't know,
Mm,
but
Focus,
so what? So
eliminate distraction, win the game.
yeah. I to that point, though I'm wondering is if you just got faster, would life slow down around you? Because time is relative. So if
Yeah,
you move
so
faster, time slows down. Just
that's
thought.
deep. And maybe that was like my goal last year with the optimizing is like do more in the same amount of time, which is technically getting faster.
I really think that like you guys ever see the movie Limitless, right? Where it's
No.
like you take a pill and it activates the rest of your brain. I think that someday that's where time becomes irrelevant. And I say that only because we will be able to speed like you think about this as a computer, right? Your body's just kind of like a biological computer. Computers have comms like you think about the to do an equation and now we've got AI that does this. Once we figure out how to do that to the human brain, time will no longer be a factor because you will be able to process so quickly that each second will be longer. So you'll be able to accomplish and think more in the given hours that you have. So time will effectively slow down. So you will add what will feel like years to your life. Like the workday may go to 3 hours if you're able to do all the processing and thinking that you need to in those 3 hours. But that's
Pass.
not my resolution.
Pass.
I feel like Elon Musk
That is
just
not
said something this week that was like, in the future, all will have money will be irrelevant, jobs will be irrelevant, and all we'll do all day is hobbies because robots will do the rest.
Yeah, I don't think that'll ever happen because the what's taken out of there is power, right? If you take away money and you take away jobs and all of that, that you take away power
Right.
and
The
power
power's
can
then in the hands of the people, which is not
yeah,
how the world works.
the world doesn't work like that.
All right. Seth's rolling his eyes.
So anyway,
How about resolutions? What
yes,
do we
my
got?
resolutions. So last year, like you guys, I didn't put like focus or whatnot, but it was like family first. Well, I like wrote them down. Family first, was one. And I think I did a good job of that. I feel like I've been really present for my kids the last year, and I kind of let go of some outside extracurricular things to be more present with them, and I don't regret it at all. And really, I feel like I'm in a great place with my family, which is it feels weird because I pray and hope for those people that aren't, because I feel like we're in a time where that is only more challenging for folks. And my other one last year was 50 books, and I did it. So that one, I'm
Wow.
thrilled. Yeah.
50.
So, and I'm not talking about everybody's like, well, you got like 1,000 books because you read 3 books at bedtime. Not counting those. This is like actual novels, etc. Most of it is garbage fiction, but
It's okay.
like
That's still
I
brain
read all of
exercise.
the Iron Flame ones, A Court of Thorn and Roses, like all of these. They're like
I know, they're
girl
fantasy.
fantasy
It's your
novels,
stuff.
Are they
but
romance
it's because
novels?
yes. But it's
They
because
are?
Alex was and her sisters were reading them, and so I was like, I wanted to be in on the conversations, and so I was like, "Oh, I read this," and of course,
It's
like,
still good. Reading is good. Reading is
so
brain
so yeah,
exercise.
so 50 books, did that. So this year, but I will say that I got to November last year, and I was at, like, 44, 45, and then I was picking books that I didn't really care to read, but I was like, "Okay, this book is 300 pages, I can finish it in 3 days," etcetera, and so I don't think I'm gonna set a number on it this year because I
Set
didn't
a
I got to
time on it.
well, and I
Like, I do
wanted to
it by time. Like, I always say, I wanna read for at least 15 minutes a night. Usually,
yeah,
it's closer to half hour, but I've never gotten more than, like, 30. I think 32 books in a year
okay.
was my max.
And that's where I didn't like the books that I got to at the end of the year. There were a couple good ones, but like some of the books that I want to read are probably like, you know, if it were an audiobook, it'd be like 36 hours. So you're talking
Uh,
1,400 pages. I don't know. So like if I'm going to say, yeah, I'll read 50 books, but I want to read a bunch of those, like then I'm just like, it's stress, putting unnecessary stress. So,
Just say that's
um,
the second job.
yeah. So I'm not gonna do that this year. But one of my and actually Alex and I last year sat down and like wrote out a bunch of family goals. And I will say I looked back at there and we came pretty darn close to all of them. But one of mine is like a health thing. I'm putting a number on. I think I want to walk. I used to run. I could run it. I want to do two or more miles a day in some way, shape,
walking
or form, and not
or
just
somehow?
Yeah,
like
it's 30 minutes a day.
and I will
Plus.
say, I mean that not just in like, hey, at the end of the day, I looked at my phone, did I hit 2 miles? But like a focused 2 miles. Bill, I know you're not a fan of this because I've
Wearing
already
your flak jacket.
previewed it, but I will say that for the last week, I've been wearing the 40-pound weighted vest, and I can feel it, and it makes a difference. I love it, but that's one of my goals. And then two, is I think if to like you guys, if I had to give it a mantra, it'd be adapt. And I would say that I have probably a little more on my plate this year. And I knew it was coming, so it's not like an unexpected change, but just with added responsibilities with work, added responsibilities with American Bloom, this is kind of a year for me where I've gotta not watch so much and then actually put things into action. And so, yeah, I don't want to let anybody down. So just make sure that I'm using every available minute to something positive. And that could be at work, whatever. It could be with my family, but like, I don't know, less idle moments.
I think resolutions should cross both or all.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like having a work resolution and a personal resolution tends to be really hard to accomplish without losing focus on the other one. So, like, I don't know. I feel like whenever I do a mantra or an intention for the year, it's both. And that's a
Yeah.
real success because in my opinion, then it becomes a habit. Then you can stack on it the next year, which is
Yeah.
the goal of goals to me is, all right, so last year was optimize. Now I can just that's now my baseline. And so then what do I do on top of that this year? I don't know. Seth, resolutions, anything besides
Yeah,
sophistication or perceived
Looking
sophistication?
sophisticated.
I just want to look sophisticated. No, your guys were really good. Super thoughtful. I've never really been a resolution sort of person. I feel like more of a quarterly person. Like I'm like, oh my God, like I probably should do this better, and then I like every quarter I have something that I'm like, oh, I should do a little bit better.
It's probably a good way to achieve goals, really, is to break
Yeah.
them down.
Yeah. totally. No, I'd
So
say
what's
like
Q1 looking like?
Q1. I think that so I there's kind of to your topic, there's two things that did kind of come to mind. You know, this last year I didn't travel at all other than Mance last year. So that was kind of new for me. Just being present more for my family was a big, just kind of a personal need slash goal, which that I did that. I think something that is carrying over since the fall is exercising and eating better in a very real way. I've been trying to work my blood sugar and cholesterol since like really October, and I've lost some belly. I've lost weight, but then I'm also like going to the gym with my
Congrats.
daughter. What?
Yeah. Well, see, there you
Yeah,
go. So that goal then extends to the
Crosses.
family goal.
yeah,
Like that's a huge win and it's measurable because you said the LBs and cholesterol numbers, like those are measurable.
yeah.
That's
So I mean,
awesome.
yeah. So I've been. It's been kind of a work in progress really since like say middle of October, and it's been going
And
pretty
will
well.
be
But now it's
forever.
like, yeah, what?
And will
Your
be
health is
forever.
a
Like that's
forever goal.
beauty
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and actually the exercise thing, I have been poor at putting work first always, right? Like if I'm going to get up early, I'm probably going to do more work. If I'm going to stay up late, I'm probably going to do more work. And my wife for a long time is like, "Hey, like we rely on you for my partner and you're the dad. And if you die because you're unhealthy or you're too stressed out, then like we're screwed." So she's been like for 5 years, she's like, you need to exercise more. And then kind of finally I was like, oh shit. Oh, excuse me. Like I need to like start doing something. And so then Sadie, my daughter, was like, oh, dad, I kind of want to join a gym. So now it's kind of more of a thing. Like she's doing it I'm doing it more regularly. We got like 3.5 months in. So it's like long enough to be like, okay, we're starting to get a routine. We're seeing some results, which is encouragement. So I'd say if I could continue to exercise and eat better for a whole year, I think I'd be pretty happy. And that's kind of blends into personal, but then also, work, making sure I have time for it.
Hey, and also it proves that Elizabeth actually likes you because other wives
That's
in that
true.
scenario would just say, "Hey, you're our provider. Like, if this is how you're going to treat your body, you need to take out a bigger life insurance policy."
Yeah. Or, hey, if we can get him Chipotle 5 out of 7 nights a week,
Right? Get the
maybe we can
insurance
be
money.
free and clear of
Yeah.
him later.
Yeah.
Like, no, I think those are all such good things, but the reasons behind it is the important part.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you're doing it for good reasons. I don't know, I think those are great goals. I'm all for it, and good
Well,
luck.
and it's kind of you guys have all you like exercise and like has been a big part of like like you guys separately, right, for a long time. Not as
Yeah.
much for me. So it's kind of, now I'm more like asking Bill different advice, like, hey, vitamins wise, what do so it's like you know, it's good.
And we're
Well,
getting
and the
old.
truth is, I didn't start doing it till I was 40.
And I remember that because I remember when I was like, you were like, "Hey, you want to come over? Like, we're gonna cook some hot dogs today." And I was like, "Hey, I gotta go run 6 miles first because I was prepping for that like that Ragnar
Ragnar.
race." And you were like, "Don't do that. Like that's such a lame move."
Yep.
And then I was like, "I have to. Like I don't want to let the rest of the team down." And you're like, "All right, whatever." And now like you're like, "Want to go run 7 miles?" Like this is light work for me. I'm just like I think back and now I'm at the point where I'm like, I don't want to run 7 miles. Like I'm so tired from these toddlers. Like I don't want to do that. I want to walk 2 miles in the morning and just have peace.
And I'm
And
pretty
it'll
sure
somebody else switch
that
with.
time I had toddlers or younger children. Like, yeah, there becomes a life stage
Yeah.
where you're
Mm.
like, wow, I actually have some time to myself now and I can go do that. And to be honest, Seth, you're going to be here in a minute is the driving. When your kid gets a car or when your kid gets a driver's license, your whole life changes again. It's like when your baby learns how to walk,
Mm.
like life changes. When your baby gets a set of car keys, life changes and you're like, "Wow, what do I do with these extra hour in my day?"
Well, that was actually kind of part B of like another resolution because Sadie turned 15 in November. On Monday, she's taking her permit test. So the
Yeah.
other aspect, I've talked to enough like teenagers that are nervous about driving. Like part of the goal is to get her like as much drive time as like humanly
Yeah.
possible, right? So like, and then teach her all the things that we kind of know because like, I mean, the three of us have probably driven an obscene amount of miles over the years, right?
Yeah.
By being
Yeah.
employed by our different companies. And so,
Yeah.
you know, that's a whole nother kind of resolution. Like, can I set her up for success? So when she starts driving, I don't have to be like, I mean, you're always probably always nervous, right, Bill? But like, you can feel some level of confidence. Like, I think she kind of knows what she's doing.
Well,
Thankfully,
I've got a lot of advice on that because went through it with Emma, who's a kid with little anxiety issues, which I know you understand.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
let's talk
All right.
because I will say that on the other end of it now, Emma, who's been driving for a year and a half, is an awesome driver. Like, she's a legit, really good driver and has a lot of experience, but it came through a lot of practice and
Mm.
situations, which we can discuss.
would she get a ticket in the Burpee Home Gardens van?
No, no, she's way more responsible. Yeah. No, you know what? Yeah, no, I would, I'm still a better driver, obviously, but, she's a very responsible driver. I
I
will
will
tell you, I gotta tell you this quote. And this is since we all have daughters. My dream isn't for my daughter to make me proud. It's for her to make herself proud in a room that I've never been in, doing things I never dared to try, with a voice that never flinches. Dude, I read that
Oh,
today and I was like,
That's a
wow.
good one.
yes.
Yeah, that's what I want. And I want her to be a really good and responsible driver who does not pop a U-turn in front of Philadelphia Phillies Stadium to try to get a picture under a billboard. So, yeah. Well, I think those are all really good resolutions, and we should check in on those throughout the year. And
Yeah.
if
We
you're
won't,
listening to this and you
but
have good resolutions or intentions, put them in the comments. I'd love to hear people's, because I feel like we can learn from what other people are doing. You know, you
Oh
might
yeah.
be able to assimilate it right into your life a little bit, or at least give you some food for thought. So,
Hmm.
but I think, Seth, you've got a hard stop here in a few minutes.
I got like 10 to 11 minutes.
All right, well, let's do shout outs and hot takes, and then maybe we can close with something different. But I've got to start the shout outs because this is crazy. Chris Beatty's launched a podcast this week, which I think is just is really funny because he was not a believer in podcasts, but also because Chris is like the ultimate storyteller. And I think
yeah.
as a podcaster, he could be really good, could be terrible. I don't really know. But he's got one episode out right now. He's just talking to like young grower award winners. But I mean, talk about someone who's interviewed thousands of people. Like, and I feel like that's what podcasting is, like the ability to connect with people. And so it'll be interesting to hear. And he has a very creative title for his podcast. It's The Chris Beatty's Podcast. I don't know how he came up with that. That's got to be some AI involved. And he was able to spell it and everything. Like, it's really good. But Chris Beatty's
He should have just
podcast,
called it show, right? The Chris Beatty show, like, you know, as a
This
talk
Chris Beatty
show
show.
host.
I think he would, yeah. Well, and he's always envisioned himself as like an old timey radio broadcaster or like Garrison Keeler. So I do think the Chris Beatty's podcast, big shout out.
Hmm.
Listen to it it's on YouTube. You'll find it. It's on the Grower Talks channel. But shout out to Mr. Beatty's for
Oh.
finally getting off his
Dusting
horse
off the
and getting
mic.
this thing started. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
He's like the guy with the best microphone in the industry.
Well, I was on a call with Charlie Hall this week, and he has full, like, it looks like a podcast setup, and I was like, "Why do
He
you
does.
have that?" He's like,
Oh,
"I
yeah.
got this," and he was like, I was like, "Nice setup." He's like, "I got this new mic cover. It's bright blue. It's really nice." I was like, "All right."
Yeah.
So,
Anyone else have a shout out? What's going on this week?
a shout out to all my friends within the National Initiative for Consumer Horticulture, Niche.
Niche.
Yeah, Niche is up to some cool stuff. I was on a call with Niche this week, and what a lot of people don't know is that we did a whole webinar series this fall, and it went out to Extension Master Gardeners, and like hundreds of people were on these webinars, hundreds. And it was really geared at helping arm Extension Master Gardeners with answers to questions. One of the big things we face in the industry is like that when Joan, I don't know, I just picked a random name. That's a terrible name because I'm trying to talk about a young person. When
wow.
Samantha,
That's a lot.
there we go, comes into the industry and she's like, I want to buy a plant, and goes to like a Home Depot and she buys it. Like a lot of times, it's like if you were to like stop her in the parking lot, you're like, "Where did that plant come from?" And she's like, "Home Depot." And it's like, "Did it grow there?" And she's like, "Yeah, they grow it in the back." Like people don't
Yeah.
understand
Yeah.
how the industry works. And so we did a whole podcast, or not podcast, a webinar series this past fall that was entitled Where this is a simple Where Plants Come From.
Hmm.
And it was 4
Mm.
parts, and it was like plant exploration. We had like Tony Avent and then some other academic folks on there about like going out and finding plants. And then we had like Diane Blazek had a session on like trialing, and it was like how plants like get to that. But it was such a success that we're gearing up for another 3 or 4 part series, and it has a working title of, and I'll take credit for this, but we'll see if it gets changed. But I was like, Where Plants Come From was part 1, and now it's like how plants get here. And so
Okay.
focusing on the industry side of things.
Yeah.
So if you've got a good story to tell out there, we're looking for participants in that webinar series to really help explain how the industry works on the back end. Because that the consumer really, like, if you're a plug grower, I would survey 8 consumers out there, and 9 of them are not going to know what that means.
No. No.
So yeah, so that's we're excited about that, and some cool things launching with that. It's a fun group to be a part of. I'm one of the few industry folks. There's a lot of academic folks involved with niche, and sometimes I have to be like, okay, guys,
Well,
it's
and
real.
you've been involved in that for years.
Yeah, yeah. I think my title is technically vice president, but I don't really know. I've been involved so long that I don't know what the title is anymore. But doesn't matter to
No, that's
me.
cool. I'll find that videos. I'll put a link to that in the show notes because
Yeah.
that's I've always thought, like I've always said back in the day there was like the How It's Made series on like
Yeah.
PBS or something. And I could like obsess over that. This was like before YouTube, but I would binge watch that show because it was always on back to back to back. And I always said if there was a How It's Made for our industry, people
Well,
would get into that because nobody has a clue. Like you said, everybody just figures like some guy like launched, just yeeted a handful of seeds out the back of the
eat it.
greenhouse and it ended up in some pots and boom, you've got a front apron
Yep.
covered in all the plants that I drafted for
Well,
my rosters.
and with that, like, I wonder if that's like it makes it easier for people to undervalue what we do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
plants are like all over the place. Like I'm looking, I see plants. Like someone, like you said, just put the plant in a pot.
Yeah.
Like, how
Yeah.
hard is that? Why do I have to
Mhm.
pay $12.99 for this thing?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why is that Calibracoa $7? It's just someone threw a seed on a pot. Like,
Yeah.
no, that is not at all what happened.
And I will say that the plant exploration one is awesome because the one guy that was on there discovered an entire new kind of palm tree. And then by the time he discovered it, there was only like 40 specimens left. And he got some island in the Caribbean, and he got them to like sanction it off. And now it's like a private reserve because the donkeys were like, these wild donkeys were killing off all these palms. They were like introduced donkeys. And so it's a cool story. And now his thing was like, I'm discovering new plants from a conservation perspective. And Tony Avent was like, I'm trying to bring in new plants to grow in the greenhouse. But it was cool to see both angles and like, okay, there are a lot of different ways that plants get here.
Yeah. I
Well,
like that.
one thing, Mason, and I can send you this, is when I was at Darwin, we actually did a tour of Darwin, Columbia. Like the nursery, actually,
Yeah.
Osvaldo and Jen from Ball Publishing went down, and they did from the very beginning to the very end of a vegetative
Yeah.
farm. And it's like a 3-part mini
Cool.
series on YouTube, and like
Cool.
no one has done that before. And we did it for exactly like people are like, where do your guys' plants come from? We're like, because I went down there, I was like, wow, this is like crazy, all the work that's involved. So we can send you those videos.
It's kind of actually it's wild because we're talking about the next series, and I brought up Darwin, Columbia, and I was like, you should talk to these guys because they have a
It's
a
a
really
good
nice
video
story.
series. I've actually sent it to friends that are not in the industry and family members and
Yeah.
stuff. Like, this is a better look at what
Yeah.
it takes to bring, because, again, people have no clue, and which is okay. Like, why would they? But which is actually a topic I want to bring up on a future episode that
Yeah.
I've been keep kicking, down the road is like horticultural education in school. Because I
Oh,
do
yeah.
think you could teach that a little bit and not have to dig too deep into it. Any hot takes at all? I don't know. My only hot take, and right now it's like 60 degrees out here in Cleveland and there's no snow. But my hot take is If you shovel your driveway, shovel your sidewalks. And if you
Yeah.
shovel your driveway and don't shovel your sidewalks, you are selfish and you're a jerk. And I firmly believe that. I run outside. My wife walks the dogs outside. And, when people don't shovel their sidewalks, that's a total jerk move. If you don't shovel your driveway, then that's fine. Like, you get a free pass. Because, I grew up
Is
in a
that
family of
allowed? Is
just
that
drive
legal?
back and forth until the tire tracks are enough that you can get your car out.
Mm.
Like, I'm cool with that. Like, if you don't want to shovel anything,
If you
I
don't,
almost
here's
respect
my
that.
take. If you don't
But
shovel your
shovel your
driveway,
sidewalk.
you probably don't have sidewalks.
That's a good point. But I live in a subdivision where everybody's got both. And
Yeah.
if you shovel your driveway and then just go back inside, you've already got your hat and gloves on. Or
I
you
think
might even
ours
have
is
using a
HOA.
snowblower.
I think
Take
ours
a
is HOA
left, take a
mandated.
right, and get that snow off the freaking sidewalk. I don't know. This is
Tell us how
one
you
that
really
just
feel.
burns me.
I think ours is HOA mandated. So I think if you don't shovel your sidewalk, you could face fines. I know how you feel about HOAs, but it helps.
That's fine. Whatever. Shovel your sidewalks, people. The snow's coming.
All right, so I have a quick.
I thought you
hot
said that on a
take.
60-degree day.
Yeah, no, a quick hot take, and then I gotta go here in a second. And I keep holding off on this, but so Roblox, you guys know Roblox?
Heard of it?
Vaguely, yes. My oldest does play Roblox with her friends.
She plays Roblox, so it's probably like super big between like 8-year-olds and I don't know,
20
14 or something. Okay, 20. Anyways, they have a game on there called Grow a Garden that's like really popular right now, probably over the last few months. Like, and there's like tons of players on it. Anyways, I'm just like, where's the app? Like, they have these weirdo. They actually have a Nephofia. Like, my son is like hyper obsessed with. He's like, Dad, look at my Octobud and my like really random names, Prismatic something or another. I don't know. But then he's like, look at my Nephofia. And I'm like,
which he must have pronounced with a K.
Does he call it
no,
red
he
hot
says
poker?
Nephofia. It doesn't call it a hot poker plant, but like,
Red hot
but
poker.
I'm like, there's no petunia, right? There's no other like basic kind of like real plant names. There's like bamboo, there's corn, tomato, coconut, some other weird non-plant names. But I'm just like, how can we, every time like some sort of gardening thing reaches like the nanosphere of popularity, like how do we like turn that like hot moment into like just any sort of recognition within horticulture?
I don't know. We got 36 plant names drafted last week that we could send them. And all of
Right?
them except like Nepeta and Ligularia are good.
Yeah. Or you can make your own Roblox games.
Those are both on one.
There's like variations, right? So someone should make a Roblox game called Grow a Garden Horticulture Edition. And it could be like all the real names. And they're what you don't think? Okay, so no one will
No,
play.
call it something different, like
right?
Real World.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, real
Elite
world.
Edition. Yeah. If you call it Horticulture Edition, people will be like, I don't know what that means, and I'm
Right.
out. But
Super mega.
I like that they included Nephofia. Red hot
Right?
poker plant. I'm sitting here thinking like, dang, I wish I would have thought about that last week of the plant draft, but
Right? Like
hey.
I don't know how much money these Roblox people make, from the games or whatever.
Billions.
A lot. So if we were like, hey, for $500, if you could put like wave petunia plant on there, like, or someone else's, or like super petunia or whatever it is, like,
I don't even think I feel like you should do it without paying them, because it wouldn't be 500, it'd be 5 million. But
yeah,
really,
I feel like you could just be like, hey, get real with this. Like, there are real plants that are way cooler than whatever Prismatics is.
Yeah.
When do we see the proven winners take over
is
of
cooler
Fortnite?
than Prismatics. I don't even know what Prismatics is, but Night Sky's a cooler plant. I'm sorry.
Maybe when do we see the proven winners take over of Fortnite? I mean, we've seen Star Wars, we've seen Lego,
Right?
we've seen Disney. Proven winners got to be next.
All right. That's
right.
the next thing. All right. So I see Seth getting out of his car, which means this is a wrap. Before we get out of here, I want to offer you the following requests that I always do. Subscribe, follow, share the podcast with your friends. Be a friend, tell a friend. Jump back in the archives. There's 7 more episodes to look at. On YouTube or Spotify, listen on Apple and Amazon, and vote for your favorite fantasy plant draft team. And we will be back next week. We might just have a special guest.